You are now listening to Serious Minds RNTV with your host, Professor Griff. The call-in number is 516-654-7688. That's 516-654-7688. This is Professor Griff, and this is Serious Minds RNTV. Serious Minds for Serious Minds. Seriously. The Serious Minds Brain Tonic was created to sharpen the mind by protecting cells and increasing neurotransmitters associated with learning and memory. This is the Serious Minds Brain Tonic. The Resurrection Formula. This male reproductive tonic elixir is the resurrection you've been looking for. It is a stimulating sexual tonic with mild androgen-like effects that is nourishing to the reproductive system. You can order them at www.professorgriff.me and www.seriousmindsinstitute.com. Just call 678-557-2919. Your health is your wealth. Peace. All right, greetings, everyone. It's Professor Griffin. Of course, this is Serious Minds RNTV. Of course, as y'all already know, we're trying to survive on Wednesdays, so it's in real time. And we're going to do that by bringing on two special gentlemen that's going to discuss a couple of critical incidents and some life-saving survival kind of information that we want to pass on to you. Some people may look at it as though I already know that. I'm not going to be in those situations. Doesn't involve me, blah, 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 blah. Whatever you think, nonetheless, just pull from these two gentlemen and what they have to lay out. All right, and let's just kind of make the best of it. And as I always say, take it, throw it in your toolbox. And if you need it, it's good. Hopefully you won't have to need it, but I'm pretty sure you might need it. Shout out to the Serious Minds family over here on IG, and shout out to the Serious Minds family here on YouTube. All right, if you know three other people, give them a call or text right now and let them know that we're on live. All right, on www.youtube.com/C/Serious Minds RNTV. All right, tonight we're going to be discussing just a few things, and hopefully you can join in on the discussion. All right, the second half hour of this broadcast, we want to take questions. All right. So the second part of this is it's motivated and generated by the questions that you ask. So without any further ado, I want to add on my guest, Mr. Dexter Doc Piggins and Mr. Larry LP. LP. No, he didn't used to be a stripper. Don't mean long play. You understand? Right? We didn't know what he used to do in his former life, but I'm just saying it don't mean that. All right, hold on for a second. Can y'all gentlemen hear me?
Yes.
All right, somebody got to make it in front of the bald head people. So yeah, how y'all doing?
Pretty good.
Good, brother.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
Okay.
clear.
I got my lights fixed, Griff.
I see that you're not in the dark. Yeah, and I got the red thing going on, like I'm at Thirsty Thursdays in the basement of the club, but I'm not. I'm good though. All right, welcome, gentlemen. Welcome. For the people that don't know you guys, introduce yourselves. Let them know what you do before we begin this very timely discussion about what went down in Boise, Idaho.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
All shooting in Boise, Idaho, and there's a few other things that we're going to discuss. So, introduce yourselves, gentlemen.
Okay. So anyway, my name is Dexter Pagans. Go by the social media. On social media, go by the nickname Doc. Carryover from the military. Spent 23 years in the Army as a combat medic. So in the military, especially as the medic, everybody is Doc. So anyway, 2012, I formed a company. It's called Still Standing LLC. Basically, what I do is I provide emergency medical care, like stop the bleed, emergency medical care training to folks in the community, folks in our community. Basically, first aid, CPR, stop the bleed, and also tactical emergency casualty care training. So that's who I am, and that's what I do.
And I'm Larry Penton. I am the CEO of Penton Pending Consulting Solutions LLC. Also, I am a firefighter paramedic, active paramedic license, but I'm retired as of last year. We're here in Charlotte, North Carolina, originally from St. Louis, Missouri. Also a Stop the Bleed certified trainer. Doc and I are going to be delving into a lot of these. We call them active shooter, or the term now is active violent incidents. It's still known as active shooter / hostage events, or ASHE, but they're shooting for this new term, active violent incidents. So we're going to be delving into how to survive in real time, as Griff says.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it's definitely about in real time. We can only take from what we've learned and experienced in the past and bring it forward into the present in order to survive for the future. There's no sense in talking about how to survive in past time because we're living in today.
That's right.
You understand? There's no sense in talking about how to survive in future times because we're not there yet. How to survive today. It may be a different kind of way to survive later on. We don't know that, but for right now, we're gonna make that happen. All right. So just so I can put it out there to let people know, the welcome to the Terror Dome No Retreat Gun Retreat, we have to postpone it into 2022, April of 2022. We'll get further into that probably on Friday's broadcast when I discuss some of the particulars dealing with that particular not change in venue, but just change in time. As we all know, we're rolling with the times. We're rolling and still rolling and coming in and out of this pandemic. All right. So we just got to roll with the punches. All right. So in the meantime, in between time, let's dive into this this deadly Idaho mall shooting. I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna kind of discuss some things. All right. 1 second. Here we go.
So should all our IT move to the cloud?
The cloud would give us more flexibility, but we lose control.
See how they do me?
They
do it for just that purpose.
they know you out there trying to put out that good information, Griff.
Exactly. Hold on. Here we go. I just dropped it in YouTube. So 2 killed, 4 injured in shooting in Boise.
Turn now to that deadly shooting at an Idaho mall. 2 people killed and 4 others injured after a gunman opened fire. Officials say the shooter is in custody as witnesses open up about the tragedy. Alex Preparedness there on the scene in Boise. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Authorities are still here on the scene. Witnesses say it started as an average afternoon here at the mall when suddenly shots rang out.
Overnight, investigators in Idaho working to figure out what led to a deadly shooting inside this shopping mall in Boise, killing 2 people and injuring 4.
I saw other people that I saw earlier, like freaking out, like outside, and I was like, oh, this happened. This is a real event.
This cell phone video captured inside the mall. You can hear the gunfire. The chaos unfolding about 1:30 Monday afternoon. Authorities say they responded to reports of shots fired at the Boise Town Square Mall, the capital city's largest shopping area.
Primary suspect ran by the Dave & Buster's wearing dark clothes, had all black and wearing a backpack.
Arriving officers confronting a man who matched the suspect's description when a gun battle broke out. One officer injured in the exchange of shots. That suspect also injured, in custody, hospitalized in critical condition.
We really cannot at this time speak to any motivation behind it or anything else that may impact the investigation. It would be entirely too premature to make any of those assumptions.
Sherry Guypen was on a walk with a friend when the chaos erupted.
As we went by J.C. Penney's, people started coming around a corner, and I asked somebody, why are you running? And he said, somebody heard a gunshot. Then the next person I saw coming through was a lady with a stroller, and she said that there was an active shooter in the mall. I guess you never expect it to come to where you're at until it does and you're in that situation.
Gentlemen, I want to leave that right on the table right there because I have some questions. Hold on one second. All right. The question I have from that young lady and the other young lady, she says you never expect it to happen until it happens. And then, well, let's talk about that first, because there was another young lady early on. Hold on. What did she say? Where is she at? Hold on. I wanted to write down what she had to say, but because it was very critical what she said. Hold on. There she go. Hold on. Let me get it.
I saw other people that I saw earlier, like freaking out, like outside, and I was like, oh, this happened. This is a real event.
All right. Never happens until it happens. And then this young lady says, oh, this is real.
Right.
So let's talk about the psychological ramifications of it first. Believing it enough to say, oh, okay, I need to do something. All right. Let's talk about that first, and then let's talk about you never really think it's going to happen until it happens. Let's talk about those two things first. So, gentlemen, talk to me.
So I think from a psychological perspective, there are people that actually go around this world thinking stuff is never going to happen to them. You know, they happy-go-lucky, carefree, don't have a worry in the world because they haven't experienced it yet, and or they haven't, or they personally have not experienced it, or maybe they don't have anyone that they're familiar with or close to that has had that experience. So up until that point, I would say it's kind of like you don't know what you don't know, in the sense that you may have that feeling that they're going to never happen to you because it hasn't happened to you up until that point. So, but once it does happen, that's when you get that reality check.
Okay, so then you have to at least go through a process then, because the other young lady says, "Oh, okay, yeah, all right, now this is real."
Oh yeah.
So should training kick in, or what happens at that point? Because if you're not used to it, you won't know what to do.
Right, and I'll say this before I be quiet for a minute, let Larry comment. But and that is when training kicks in, either training or lack of training. Because you can have, you can be trained, and then we have that saying that when things happen, we always revert back to our training. That's where that concept or that phrase, train as you fight, basically meaning the way the way you will react. You want to make your training as realistic as possible when you're training for certain events. So when that event takes place, you'll know what actions to take place. Like there is training, active shooter training. Matter of fact, that's one of the things I used to do in my past life. I did training for employee safety at a federal agency I used to work at, training over 13,000 employees in the Atlanta area every year in how to respond during active shooter events. So, in situations like that, yes, you do revert back on your training. If you haven't been training or you have never received that training, then that's when you're going to either revert back on what I say, common sense, street sense, or just total chaos, one or the other. You're not going to know how to react.
Wow.
Larry, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
You know what I always say, it's not a matter of if, but when and where one of these active violent events is going to occur. As a paramedic, we're trained on these active events, these mass casualty incidents, and how to deal with the patients, the bystanders, the staff, the other first responders that we encounter. And as a civilian, as just a bystander, what do you do in these situations? How do you deal with it while you're on scene? How do you deal with it when you get back home? How do you deal with it if you're injured and you're in the hospital? How does your family deal with it? How does your loved ones deal with you being in that situation? I was looking at pretty much every video and news story that I could find over this past week when I was doing my research on this story. And some of the videos were showing people that were in the mall at the time of the shooting, walking out on their cell phones. You had people in the parking lots that were talking, calling their loved ones, and the reporters, they were talking about, you look at all these people that are on their phones, checking in with their loved ones, giving them a wellness check on scene, letting them know that, hey, I'm okay. But when you get in that car driving home, when you're sitting in your living room after, witnessing whatever traumas, either somebody bleeding out, somebody dying, and in this case, there were 6 injured. 2 people died on scene. One of the injured was a police officer. He survived. The shooter engaged with the police and he survived. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. But everybody on that scene has to deal with the mental health aspects of this traumatic event. And we all deal with it in different ways. And so hopefully what we're going to be doing with this surviving in real time and this stop the bleed training will help people at least get an understanding of what to do immediately. But I would just say, as far as anything else, please, please, please seek help. If you feel that you're overwhelmed, if you feel like this is too much for you, talk to a counselor, talk to your therapist, talk to your family, your friends, seek out some professional. If you're a religious believer, seek out your theologist, whoever you worship, pastor, minister, rabbi, what have you, Buddha, if you're a naturalist or what have you, please just seek out help because this won't go away. These incidents aren't going anywhere.
So with that said, let me ask both of you guys something. So how can would it be wise? Let me ask it this way. Would it be wise for the average person just going to the mall to carry something with them to protect themselves, or on the first aid side, or on the self-defense side, or both, or just don't go to the mall?
You can't live your life in fear. That can happen at the mall. It can happen at the grocery store. We had discussion about that a couple of weeks ago. It happens at churches. So if you're trying to if you're trying to guess, okay, well, is it safe to go here versus there? or I'm just stay in the house and don't go nowhere. I mean, that means you have a spirit of fear. You live in your life in fear, and that's not how we're designed to live. You do need to have a mindset of preparedness, and that's why we have discussions like this. What we emphasize being prepared. Self-preservation, that's number one law of nature. So you do the things you need to do to survive that event, because you're the number one priority when something like that happens. Before you can help someone else, you got to make sure you're safe. If you got your family folks with you, you make sure they're safe.
Right.
So I believe in exercising Second Amendment rights. So yes, that's firearm. That's a tool that you would use when needed. That medical equipment or training that you have, that's a tool and knowledge that you would use when needed. So, equip yourself with both. Don't be scared to go anywhere. And, hey, like they say, stuff happens. So, yeah. I won't say what they really say, but you know what I mean.
Right, stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ish always hits the fan somewhere, somewhere else.
I would just add to that. There are many places that when you go into a mall or a supermarket or a store, a church, any building, at the front entrance, they'll have a sign posted that says, no weapons allowed, no firearms are allowed on the premises. And I always just tell people, you follow your local ordinances, you follow your local laws according to your local, state, regional localities. For myself, it's always about situational awareness. And this is part of what we talk about when we deal with these active violent incidents. Because if you're not aware of what's going on, you got to keep your head on the swivel. You got to keep your antennas up. You got to keep your nose to the ground. And hey, if it's 90 degrees outside, the comedian Bruce, he has a bit where he talks about stuff like this, and he made a joke about the Columbine incident, and he was like, he was saying that he was comparing like black people to white people in certain situations, and he said, with black people, if we see somebody in the summertime, wearing some heavy clothing or whatever, it's like, hey, we're going to be out of that situation or whatever. We're not going to be like, hey, Chuck, like your coat, and it's 90 degrees in the summertime. It's like, hey, this dude got a trench coat and it's, 80 degrees with, 100% humidity. Something's getting ready to go down. When we were at the gun range last week, I had a small second. A guy came in, a young guy came in with an AR strapped to his chest. He didn't even get ready while he was in there. Like, he walked in, and it kind of just set me back for a second, because I was like, oh, and then I was like, what am I tripping off of? I'm at a gun range or whatever. But, just as a person that, you're not seeing that every day. So you don't know what people's intentions are. I remember the story about Chris Kyle, the Navy SEAL from the movie American Sniper, who was killed by another person who had a firearm. And this guy was a Navy SEAL, and so he wasn't aware that this guy was going to kill him. So if he can't be prepared for something like that, unfortunately, what about you and I, who are just, average Joes and James?
So let me say something, LP. You said follow the local laws and the local signs. That's cool, yeah. That's well and fine, but criminals are not doing that, bro.
Sure, that's true.
So even in your tone, I don't want you to disarm the people spirit. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. That's just my disclaimer, because I don't want anybody saying that LP said go into this church with an AR-15. LP said go into your local supermarket with both guns drawn, outside the waistband and all this stuff or whatever, toting a machete and all this stuff. That's just my disclaimer. You do whatever you're going to do. I'm just saying, you want to follow the laws, but you also want to be educated. And Griff, this is where you come into play because you are an active instructor. You teach people about firearm safety and training. You always say train, 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 train. If you forget what I said, remember train. And if you're not training and you're not getting and keeping yourself educated, it's just like Doc and I, we had to do continuing education classes to keep our certifications up. And so it's the same thing with people. If you're going to have a firearm or even not, just if you have a knife or any weapons that you want to carry, take a self-defense class, because you don't have to be a carry and conceal. You don't have to have a CCW, but, we all carry knives. Some of us carry multiple knives and stuff or whatever. You got to know how to use them. You can, if you don't carry a knife, you might have a screwdriver in your back pocket because you were, building something in your backyard or something like that. And something happens, somebody comes upon you or whatever, you can use this as a weapon. You can use a pen as a weapon. You can use keys as a weapon. There's many things that you can use as a weapon. So you just have to be prepared.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely some good information. But I think you said it, but I don't think you put it in a bold font, nor did you underline it. I think you said just keep your head on swivel, be alert. You understand what I'm saying? And know and understand that it's not going to happen to the people across town. It might happen to you today at this mall. So
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Right. As we head towards the new year and all of these holidays we got coming, we got 5 in a row.
Mm-hmm. Big time. Yeah.
We're not going to live in fear. I know I'm not going to live in fear.
Mm-mm.
You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm going to go deeper than that, though. I'm going to go with what I'm feeling here at that particular moment as I walk to the door and see the sign, no firearms, blah, 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 blah. If I don't feel in here that I need to go take it back to the car, whatever, I'm either going to go to another mall or I'll let my family go in. I'm going to wait outside because I'm not trying to be naked within the next 4 or 5 months walking around here. I'm not. Because it seemed like every single day,
right, something
is happening on this level.
Mm-hmm. Anytime, anywhere, it's always something going on, and you always need to be prepared. It's better to be prepared and not have to use it than don't be prepared and wish you had it. So
right, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yeah, we always say in EMS, we prepare for the worst and hope for the best every time we get a call. I do want to just add something also to what the question was earlier about, do you live in a bubble or do you go out and just live your life? You got to live your life. With the advent of technology, there's a lot that you can do at home that will keep you in the house. You can, like what we're doing, these meetings that we have, you can do all your shopping online, whether it's the big A or, you can do your groceries, you can buy food online, have it delivered. There's so much that you can do online that you can have brought to your home that you don't have to venture out. And I think that as this health crisis that we're in right now starts to wind down or if we get back to normal or what have you, people are going out more, they're venturing out more. You're seeing, compared to last year with the shutdown, now you're not seeing these shutdown levels, or you're not seeing these shutdown events like we had last year. So as people go out more and more, you're going to see probably an increase in these situations because, it's just something that society has to deal with on multiple levels. But as people, we have to be comfortable and saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to allow some knucklehead to keep me from living my life.
Yeah, and I think, you know, like going back to Griff's original question, you know, with this stuff going on, that means now you don't go to the mall. And like we are both all saying, you know, this stuff happens every day. It can happen anywhere, anytime. You know, gas station, you know, convenience store. I mean, stuff just going to be jumping off. You know, so you know, and another thing, you know, just because you carry a firearm don't make you bulletproof. You know, so you know, you carrying the firearms. You know that, you know, for some folks, you know, maybe that gives them a heightened sense of being in, invincible or something. But once again, that firearm is just a tool, a defensive or personal protection tool to use only when needed. In an active shooter situation like that stuff that happened at the mall, you know, I got a firearm on me. I could have a firearm on me, but that don't mean I'm going to engage that shooter because, you know, one, unless I feel that you know, I'm just saying me personally. Somebody else might have a different view take on it. You know, like I made the comment, your number one priority is self-preservation. If you got your family with you or people you care about, they're your second priority because you got to take care of yourself in order to take care of them. So by you engaging that shooter, now you drawing that attention in your direction, and maybe one of your family members gets shot. You know, now if that shooter poses a direct threat to you, by all means, light them up if you can. But just understand, once them bullets start leaving your gun, you're responsible for them bullets.
That's right.
If you're in a crowded mall, you mess around and miss the shooter, and you done hit some other folks, you know, that's on the other side of the mall trying to get away. So, you know, even though you have a firearm, you have to be you have a responsibility with that firearm. So, you know, it ain't just like, okay, I'm strapped up, I'm going in here, yeah, I'm ready for whatever. No, it don't work like that. You know, so I just want to throw that in as a caveat because you know, we don't want anybody to leave this discussion thinking, yeah, well, I got this firearm on me, I'm good to go. You know, for anything.
Right.
That ain't real. Yeah, it don't work like that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are walking around with the the imaginary gunfight in their head that they're gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
Because they watched John Wick and some other movies, and it just don't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's cool shadow boxing, but as soon as they start throwing them joints back,
that's right. You know, Bruce Lee said boys don't hit back, right? When he's in martial arts.
That's
well,
right.
Bruce Leroy say them targets don't shoot back, but in real life, people do. You know, so yeah, don't expect to go to a gunfight and not get shot. So you know, you have to be smart about about what you're doing.
Right.
And Griff, real quick, you always talk about, and when you're talking about your gun safety training, that acronym you came up with, TANK. And I watched that the other day when you were talking about it, and I was like, wow, you know, I didn't think about that because, like you said, you know, and if you guys want to know more about it, just, you know, follow Griff on his other shows that he does. But one of the things that kind of stuck in my mind was, you know, when you shoot that gun or that firearm, what's your backstop? You know, because bullets travel, go through people. Where is it going to terminate? Where is it going to end up? You may shoot the shooter, and let's say, you know, he's standing right here, the bullet goes through him. What's behind that person to stop? Like, is it a wall? Is it a person? You know, it may go through a wall and hit somebody else that you don't even see behind that other side of the wall that's doing their concealment. So you have to be aware that once that bullet leaves that chamber, it's not going to stop until it stops. No matter if it goes to one person, two people, a wall, and 3, 4, 5 people, what have you. So you got to be aware of that. That's part of your responsibility as a gun owner. And, you know, hey, it's just something that's really, it was really enlightening when you said that.
Oh, give thanks. Really appreciate that. My man's Boggs Middleton. He says you have to be smarter than the object that you're dealing with.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you're correct, but we don't know. If you're engaging someone, you don't know how smart or dumb these individuals are. You understand what I'm saying? I think you do have to have a plan though. And that's you got to underline what's your plan. Everyone right now, whether you want to or not, you have to have a plan.
Right.
We're going to the mall. We're going to stay in there for an hour. Get what you need. Hit me up. If something go down, meet me at the food court. Blah, 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 blah. You understand what I'm saying? Plain and simple. You got to have some kind of plan. You got to have a home plan. You got to have a plan when you're going to the mall. We're going to dinner. If something go down, you understand what I'm saying? This is what we're doing. You got to have some kind of plan. At least talk about it and discuss it.
Right.
Plain and
But,
simple.
yeah.
Said he ain't black. We gonna be getting caught in fires. We'll eat through somebody's before we get caught in the fire. We be out there like this. You understand? We're not getting caught. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the reality. So you have to have a plan.
Right. And with that plan, Griff, before you go on, and you know, a lot of times when we do go to the mall, you know, I don't like to go to the mall because I don't really like to shop. But you know, a lot of times when families go to the mall, the kids go in one direction, the parents go in another direction. So, because you know, hey, you go find what you need, and you be back at such and such a place. Meet me back at such and such a place. So, if that event happens while the family is kind of like spread out all over the mall, just like you said, going back to having a plan, you know, and you know, making sure that you talk, you know, that's something you probably need to incorporate with the way things are going. You know, when families go out shopping at the mall, saying, okay, well, I'm gonna go in this store, you go in this store, but y'all have talked about the what if, you know, if something should happen, you know, what we need to do, or what are we going to do to kind of reconnect or gather back up to make sure everyone is safe.
I think with the advent of the internet and with the
phones,
yeah, I think a lot of people now, they don't care which way their children go because they can easily, you know, say, look, all right, I'm about to leave, let's go. Meet me back at the car, or meet me at the front door, or meet me at the entrance we came in. Where you at right now? Okay, meet me at the food court. A lot of times, we just take for granted that a plan needs to be put in place, and we don't think about it. We just kind of like, oh, I can easily call them and tell them I'm about to leave.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. All right. One quick question, and we went through a period, especially with young people. As soon as TikTok was allowed to still operate in America, we went through this kind of period. I think it's still happening. I don't know. Every now and then it flares its ugly head. But these challenges, the last challenge I think we witnessed was the crate challenge. Would you agree? No.
Yes.
It was after that. It was a slap a teacher challenge. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that. But the crate challenge the two worst ones that I saw was the crate challenge and the teaspoon of cinnamon challenge.
Okay, but what about the ice bucket?
I didn't really see too many injuries with that, but like those two stuck out in my head: the crate challenge and the cinnamon challenge.
What if the ice bucket went left and someone went into shock? What do you do? What if the crate challenge, someone slip, skip, dip, and bust their lip, broke a bone, or the crate hit them in their throat and they choking? How do we do it? How do we work with that, man? I know what y'all about to say because I know what you're already thinking. Because you probably thought this an hour or so ago when I brought this up. First of all, you shouldn't be doing nothing dumb like that. Because that's what I think.
Right.
And some of the people I seen doing it was too damn old to be up on them damn crates anyway. How you 362 pounds with a girdle on that don't fit, all right, with your grandmama socks on, ashy ass ankles and feet, all right, with Vaseline on your nasty looking toes, you in a crate.
Yeah.
Damn crate challenge. I mean, come on, work with me. Talk to me.
That's yours, Larry. That sounds like you probably encountered a lot of that stuff.
You know, so when I saw the crate challenge for the first time, I sat there and I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. I mean, you had people all sizes, shapes, colors doing it, and they would have a myriad of these crates at various heights, and it's just mind-boggling to me. I always say, man, and this includes women, but mankind will always look for the ultimate high since the beginning of time, whether it's in the substance, whether it's in alcohol, whether it's in, adventure and all this stuff. That's why you got people skydiving. And I'm not saying all of these things are bad. I'm just saying that some things are just stupid, and this crate challenge, it has a myriad of problems that you're going to encounter, if you fall, because gravity is not your friend. Inanimate objects will always win over the body. People that get mad and punch the wall and punch trees, and then their hand is broken or fractured, it's like the tree won, the wall won. These people that are falling down from these crates, I always, when I get called and I show up and I'm like, what happened to your hand? Oh man, I was mad and I punched the tree. Which hospital do you want to go to? Come on. These people that are falling down on these crates or whatever, they got so many things. The first thing that they need to be worried about is busting their damn head. Second thing, and probably even more serious than that, is being paralyzed. Because if you fall the right way, and it don't take a lot of height, and it don't take a lot of fall either, to fracture your cervical spine, and hey, you can be partially paralyzed, you can be fully paralyzed. People don't know about being bedbound until they typically are elderly or something like that. Right. You don't want to be anything like, you don't want any part of that life where you can't take care of yourself, you can't wash yourself, you can't wipe yourself, you can't feed yourself. I'm talking about full on paralysis from the neck down. Because you have other problems that come with that, bed sores. You have just all kinds of things that go on with a person that is paralyzed. So I would just tell people, if you want some excitement and adventure, that's why they make video games. Play some music. Go out and date or something like that. Like, do something that's a lot safer than some stupid crate challenge or whatever. And like I was talking about the cinnamon challenge, where people would take like a teaspoon or tablespoon of cinnamon and swallow it. They were having all kind of negative problems that was going on with that or whatever. I just think that people look for adventure in the wrong ways, and it ends up costing them and their family, like we were talking about earlier with the mental health aspect. Your family has to deal with it. If you lose your income and you're the main source of income, what do? If you have a child or children, who's going to take care of that kid, whether you die or you have a permanent injury?
Obviously, LP, you don't have teenagers around you. You can't video game nowadays. They way past that, bro.
Yeah, that's right.
They way past that, man. But anyway, here's a full list of the TikTok school challenges. We're talking about school. School. September, vandalize school bathrooms. In October, it was smack a staff member. November is kiss your friend's girlfriend at school. December, deck the hallways and show your balls. Need I read that one again? Are we good with that one? Okay, hold on. January, jab a breast. February, mess up school signs. March, make a mess in the courtyard or cafeteria. April, grab some eggs. Another stealing challenge. May, ditch day. Find a day and ditch school. June, flip off in the front office. July, spray a neighbor's fence.
A lot of that stuff is, I guess this is like modern day stuff for we all did stupid stuff. I think, I don't think I know when we were younger, but not on that level, you might go through a neighborhood and egg somebody's house, do something to somebody's car, spray something on the car. But, that some of those things right there that you mentioned, especially with the stuff at the school, that it's not smart. It's definitely childish type stuff. I mean, but we still got kids with childish minds. But maybe that's just the generation. That's what they call having fun or something. I don't know. Yeah,
but we're talking now first aid. We're talking about, like Larry just said, ingesting something, and now somebody has to come to your aid.
Right.
We're talking about a crate challenge where you can fall off and break something and crush something, and all right, you understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And where they have challenges at, no one is saying, okay, is there a doctor in the house? Does anyone know CPR? Anyone have a tourniquet and then do the challenge? No, they just kind of going for it.
Right.
Yeah, because
oh, go ahead, Larry.
Because thank you. Because some of those injuries that I've seen with the crate challenge, you have broken bones, and they could be compound fractures where the bone actually goes through the skin. It perforates the skin and it's exposed. What do you do in this situation? How do you treat that as a bystander before I show up? What do you do with somebody that falls down and says, I can't move my hands, I can't move my legs, I can't move my feet? How do you treat that person until EMS arrives? Somebody fell down and they had a large lac on their head, a laceration. What do you do for an injury like that? How do you treat that on scene? You may not have an IFAC, individual first aid kit. You may not even have a first aid kit available. So what do you improvise with? So those are the things that I'm concerned about with the cinnamon challenge. When you have somebody who ingests something, and they can't breathe anymore, what do you do in that situation?
Right.
To help them clear their airway? How do you treat that person? And so these are things that we have to be mindful of when we do these challenges. The other stuff, some of the things that you mentioned at the school, it's a violation of personal space. It's a violation of people's rights. When you're touching young ladies' breasts or smacking somebody, those are miscellaneous. Most of those can be felonies. So you got bigger fish to fry or whatever, and you might get hit back.
Right. And, especially like the bathroom stuff, kids going in there ripping like mirrors and sinks and toilets up. That's vandalism. I mean, and that's criminal. If I was a teacher, kids slapped me, I guess I'm gonna lose my job that day. I'm slapping that kid right on back. That's just the way it is. But for that child, that's assault. It might be simple. Well, it's some form of assault. I ain't no legal guy, but you just assaulted me. You slapped me. You probably would hope I slap you back, because there's definitely going to be some legal action. So a lot of that, a lot of those pranks, but on the medical aspect, like Larry's saying, that's where that you have to have a basic first aid knowledge to know that certain things you may be able to help that person after they done fell off those crates and the way they landed head first, neck went backwards.
Yeah.
He probably done severed his spine. You start messing around. Now he's paralyzed because you laughing and moving him around, but this cat is paralyzed.
Wow.
So that's not something you just can't take that stuff lightly, because it might be funny at the time while he falling and that crate come up between his legs, and then he flip over on his neck. But it ain't gonna be funny if it's something resulting in some kind of serious permanent physical injury to an individual.
Right, exactly. So while we're taking a pause for the calls, if anyone have any questions for the last few minutes we're going to be on here, please type in your question. Make sure it's clear and we understand what you are talking about. No long drawn out stories and paragraphs. If your question starts off with, well, let me put it like this, Griff, once upon a time. No, bro, no. Your question cannot start off with once upon a time. You understand what I'm saying? Nah, ask a clear question so we can get it answered. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for example, someone had said to me, can we talk about protests and what if you're involved in a protest, should you bring, I don't know, a first aid kit to a protest? Are you anticipating someone getting hurt at a protest, or? But that was a question someone asked me, I think a few days ago, and I said I would kind of address it.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, we saw that, big time, last year during a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests. And, I mean, they had cats out there who was, if you looked at some of the people out there that had like medic on a patch on, a medical badge, because, even if it's something like getting some kind of riot control agent sprayed in your eyes, maybe that's the injury. But a lot of those guys was getting physical out there, with the anti, groups coming together, left wing, right wing, whatever. Oh yeah. So yeah, I think if you're going to be out, if there's going to be individuals out in the streets protesting, whatever, you should be prepared for, the possibility of some kind of physical conflict with those anti-protesters. And be prepared to deal with that.
Right. So basically, it would be if you're planning now.
Mm-hmm. If you're planning that,
don't haphazardly show up at a protest. You plan to go out there. You got the right gear on. You got your backpack, your water, the right shoes on, your placard, whatever you protested. So you planning it.
Oh yeah.
Planning, I'd say carry a first aid kit.
Oh yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah. Those guys had all kind of stuff in their backpacks, bear spray, gas mask, so that's a military plan. And part of military planning, you need to provide for medical support. So if you're out there in the streets, you can anticipate violence, you should anticipate it. And people get hurt. So, prepare to provide medical care to the extent that you can.
Somebody, Barbara Ebron said, I'm just keeping my ass at home. Barbara said, I ain't taking no chances. I'll stay my ass at home. But go ahead, Larry. Go ahead, man.
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I lived in the city of St. Louis when Ferguson happened. Ferguson is one of the suburbs of St. Louis City. It's one of the 82 municipalities that surround, that are outside the city limits. And so during that situation, with all the tear gas and different things like that, I had buddies that worked the front line during those protests. One of the things that we in EMS learned from that incident and from those protests was how to treat those injuries that some of the protesters and some of the people that weren't just protesting, that were actually rioting and all this stuff, incurred during that time. And so you saw people with milk that were poured in somebody's eyes or over their head when they got tear gas. One of the things that we learned is that a better option than milk is baby shampoo.
Baby shampoo?
Yeah. Actually, baby shampoo works a lot because you're not going to always carry milk around and you got to keep it cold and all this stuff, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think people are carrying baby shampoo either, but go ahead, I'm listening. I'm getting your point.
Well, that's one of the things in the research that was going on as far as EMS. One of the things that we learned is that baby shampoo actually helps with eye irritants. So your tear gases, your mace, your pepper sprays, and different things like that. It's a better alternative than the milk. And if you're going to go to a protest, absolutely bring an IFAC. Bring two, because you don't know what's going to happen at any protest. It could be about a political issue. It could be about a civil rights issue. It could be about all the above. You just never know how these things are going to how they're going to work out, and what's going to happen between faction and groups or not. Even just interactions with law enforcement can turn ugly even in a peaceful protest. So absolutely, if you're going to go to a protest, bring an IFAC or more.
The only drawback to that, and I know I'm playing quote unquote devil's advocate, the average person don't know how to use one.
Sure.
So
and that's what we're doing. That's why we're doing these shows, and that's why we do the Stop the Bleed and different things like that. I will say, picking back from what we were talking about earlier, real quick, those pranks that people are doing in school, that affects people's mindset, and those incidents can cause active shooter events. You're picking on somebody, whether you're touching them inappropriately or you're smacking their face and all this stuff or whatever. They start stewing about it. They go home. I'm gonna get my payback. Let me go get my gun, or let me go into my family member's closet and get their gun, and they go back. I mean, we've seen that before. So you got to be really mindful of these pranks, because you don't know how it's going to affect somebody. It might cause an active violent event.
Right.
And Griff, like you just made a comment about the IFAC, if you're carrying a medic, it's a whole lot of folks got medical kits too, and don't even know what's in the kit.
Right.
Get the kit, get training. And that's one of the things we're promoting with these discussions with our upcoming training on December the 12th. But don't be carrying, just like carrying, your firearm. You don't carry a firearm and not how to safely and properly operate it. If you got a medical kit, you need to know the content of the kit. Is this a first aid kit, or is this a trauma kit? And the stuff that's in there, it serves a purpose, and you need to know what that purpose is. So if you got some stuff and you just carrying it around, you might as well leave it at home.
Right, exactly. And I think, speaking to that point about protest and first aid and protest and even at the mall, if it goes down, and I don't think, and this is just me, I don't think people are looking, when those things go down and you hear gunshots, I don't think the average person is looking to go help someone else.
No, but that's why a lot of, I ain't gonna say a smart active shooter, because there's nothing smart about that. That's just a clown out there doing something he don't need to be doing. But a lot of times, when you start hearing that gunfire going off, and like in a place like a mall or something, everybody headed to the exit. They trying to get up out of there. And here's the thing about that, that's what you don't want to be doing. You don't want to be in the crowd running all in the same direction, trying to get out, because a smart active shooter, he just point in the direction where everybody headed. He don't care who he hit. It's military, we call it targets of opportunity. Whatever. You just got this battle rich environment. Well, that ain't the term, but it's something like that. But the bottom line is, you don't want to do that. That's where the situational awareness comes in. Get down, get safe, get an assessment of what's going on. Know the direction of the shooter. You don't want to be running towards the shooter, and then you make your plan. I'm headed to the left. I'm not going to the right with everybody else. Whatever you're going to do, but don't just follow the crowd, because you might be following them, in the wrong direction.
Right.
If you fail to plan to fail.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And those employees at that mall, according to the news stories, really helped out the patrons of the different stores. They instituted the run, hide, fight that we talk about. When the incident happens, you either first and foremost, you run if you can run. And like Doc said, try not to run with the crowd. Whenever you go to a store or a mall or a church or any place of business or anywhere, you need to know where the exits are. You should always go in, look and see, because they're clearly marked in any building with the red letters EXIT. Run, hide, fight. If you can't run, then you hide. Cover and conceal. Cover doesn't give you shelter from or prevention of bullets hitting you, but concealment does, because you're hiding behind a sturdy, thicker object. And if you can't do anything else, then you fight. So those employees, they really stepped up to the plate, and they were locking doors and barricading certain rooms to keep people safe from the shooting until the threat was neutralized by law enforcement.
You're absolutely correct. And I think in those kind of situations, I think people that are trained in those kind of situations, once they feel that they're safe, then they will help.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's just the way nurses, doctors, Army, any of the armed forces, police officers, firefighters, anyone. If you're trained and you have that training, I think the average person, after you feel safe, you will go help.
And that's the way it should be. Yeah. Safety first. You know,
right.
There's nothing wrong with being, I would say it's not selfish. It's not, you can be selfish when it comes to your own life, you know, because it's just like when you're on a plane and if there's a drop in cabin pressure or something goes wrong with the plane, and the oxygen mask drop down, the flight attendants always tell you before the plane takes off, put your mask on first before you help somebody else. So there's nothing wrong with you taking care of yourself, looking out for yourself first. And then if you're with somebody, your loved one, your friend, and then strangers.
Right. Okay, family, if you've benefited from anything that we've said on here for the last hour, pass it on to 3 other people. Each one teach 3. I was talking to this guy named Doc today, and he said each one teach 1. And it reminded me of one of my elders taught me. He says, we got that from Africa. Africa, it originally started, each one had to teach 3 because that was part of your rites of passage. By the time it came over on the ship and hit Detroit, it was each one teach 1. You understand what I'm saying? That's all we had. The brain capacity to handle is 1 other person. But yeah, with that said, family, I hope you've benefited from something that we said. And remember, the upcoming event hosted by yours truly, Professor Griff, of course, with Doc and LP, we're going to be doing after the first 48 seconds. It's a Zoom call meeting on December 12th at 7 p.m. You can sign up right now as we speak. Please go to my website, www.professorgriff.me, and sign up. It's definitely going to be worth your breadcrumbs or your nickels and dimes, your coins. We're doing live demonstrations. All right. That's why LP went out and bought a light. That's why Doc shaved his head. So we're just gonna make it happen live that day. All right. We plan on bringing some information and we're gonna fill in the gaps because I know we talk about some things. All right, but we're gonna fill in all the gaps, and then hopefully you'll get out to come see us in person when we travel and move about the cabin, move about the country. All right. Any last words, gentlemen?
No, I think a great discussion once again. You know, like I say, bits and pieces. We tie in that training on December the 12th. So folks out there that may be listening in, definitely, you know, take advantage of the opportunity to get some good training.
Right.
I want to read this quote that came from the news story about the Boise, Idaho shooting. It says, as first responders, we prepare and train for these kind of events, yet nothing can really prepare you to witness such horror when something like this happens to a community. For the person that's just an innocent bystander, that goes for you too. Like, you may not be formally trained like myself or like Doc is. Right. However, these shows that we're doing and the Stop the Bleed training that we're doing in Griff, with you doing your firearm safety and training, collectively, the 3 of us are preparing and training the everyday person to be ready for these events. Because again, nothing can really prepare you to witness the horror. But if you find yourself in one of those situations of an active violent incident, you'll know what to do.
Right. All right. Until next week, gentlemen. Thank you very much for the information, and thank you all the Serious Minds family for always joining us on Wednesday night. Pass this information on, copy the link, send it to some other people, have the discussions with your friends and family, and figure out a plan. What's your plan? Everyone's going to be out and about especially this weekend. Halloween is coming up.
Black Friday's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Full costumes. So you know robbery crew is going to be out. People are going to be doing all kind of stuff. So I'm just saying, family.
Yeah.
All right, be very mindful. All right? Be very mindful. All right, fam. Y'all take care. Peace, good brother.
Peace now.
All right.
Blessings.
All right. All right, that was Doc and Mr. LP, and discussing the Boise, Idaho mall shooting. Discussing the challenges, the crate challenge, the ice bucket challenge, the knucklehead challenge, whatever else kind of challenge. All right. But family, let's be very mindful that the holidays are coming up. All right, be very mindful of your surroundings. All right, protect yourself and protect your family. This is Professor Griff for Serious Minds RNTV, and I am out. Peace, Quan. All right, peace to the Serious Minds family, Little Goddess, Johnny Taylor, Great Filibuster, and the rest of the fam. Make sure you go to my website, professorgriff.me, and sign up for after the first 48 seconds. All right, because you're going to need to know what to do on the first aid tip. Peace.